Hi, it's Evelyn with Magellan College Counseling, and I'm here with another Evelyn Explains. I'm actually going to cover two topics this time, and I'm going to try to do it really quickly. I'm going to link some additional resources when I post the video. So the first question is, how many colleges should I apply to? This actually might be our most asked question. How many colleges should I apply to? So here's the answer. It depends. That's the answer to everything. So it's actually more about the balance than about the number. But I'm going to talk about why the number shouldn't be bigger in just a moment. So the first thing is capacity, actual capacity. The common application, which is the most likely way that you are going to apply to college, will only allow you to have a maximum of 20 colleges on your list. You cannot apply to more than 20 colleges through the common application. I could line up a room full of people who will tell you why you should never apply to 20 colleges. It's way too many. It's a ridiculous amount of colleges, but it happens. People do it. So that's part one. Part two, if you are applying to other colleges that are part of a system. So, for example, I live in California. The University of California has its own application system, its own application for the system. There's 9 campuses, so you can apply to all 9 campuses, undergraduate campuses, with one application. So there we can apply to 29. And if you wanted to just go absolutely crazy, the California State University system, so Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, San Diego State, Long Beach State, Chico State, Humboldt, Cal Poly Humboldt. There's 22 campuses in the Cal State system, again, on their own separate application. You are welcome to apply to all 22 of them. I will say each one has an application fee. So we're talking $70 per Cal State campus, $80 per UC campus. So we're racking up the money here. You might want to keep an eye on the budget. Same is true for colleges on the common application. So every college has an application fee unless you qualify for a fee waiver. But the application fees can really add up. I want to give you the reason why it's just a really bad idea to apply to a gajillion colleges. So this is my college research sheet, and I have a list of 12 colleges on this list. It's a pretty balanced list. It's a little bit reachy for my taste. It's got a whole bunch of wild cards, and I define a wild card as a college where you basically have 10% or less chance of getting in. You could argue with me about Tufts that it's a reach instead of a wild card, but it's not likely and it's not a target. So in my book, as long as you have a couple likelies on your list that you are truly happy with, then you're fine. As long as you're happy with them, then you're fine. But you have to sort of look at this list and think everything that you consider reach or wild card is going to end up being a no. So would you be happy with only the likely schools on your list, and then maybe if if you write good essays, a target school is going to come up, yes. So would that make you happy? This is really the lens through which I like to help my students create lists. But the thing I want you to pay attention to is actually right here, the total number of supplements that you're going to have to write. We're talking in addition to your main personal statement, right? You're going to have to write 22 more essays. This is not copy and paste. This is customized and tailored to each college and the questions they ask you. So this is a lot of work. So that hopefully will answer your how many colleges should I apply to. I will tell you that the average for students I personally work with is between 12 and 15. I'm actually kind of happier when it's closer to 12 than 15. Again, it's a lot of work. You're going to run out of steam. You are going to lose quality in the essays that you write because you're going to put less time and effort into them because, frankly, you're going to be tired and you're going to want this all to be over. That's really an argument why you should limit the number of reach schools on your list, because you absolutely cannot give Swarthmore the same essays that you give Stanford, the same essays that you give Tufts. You have to put time and effort into each of them, and they have to be top notch if you want the essays to make any difference. So honestly, this is really the issue that we're dealing with, is the number of supplements. The next issue that I want to cover is how many early decision and early action schools, I'll stop sharing for a moment, how many early decision and early action schools can we apply to? You can apply to one early decision one. Many colleges have 2 rounds of early decision, some don't. You can only apply to one early decision school because if you get in, you're committing to attend. So it's binding. You are going to get your acceptance letter the first 2 weeks of December. You are going to withdraw the rest of your applications. Withdraw, you're done. You're going to submit a deposit. That's early decision, the binding one. Again, I'm going to post a little bit more information next to this video. Some colleges have 2 rounds of early decision. If we decide to go early decision 1 to Tufts, we don't get in. We could go early decision 2 to Boston College. You have to be prepared to not get in both rounds because most of the colleges that offer early decision are the most difficult to get into. So you have to look at the numbers and realize that the numbers are working against you. And yes, sometimes when you apply early decision, the numbers tip a little bit more in your favor. They're still very small numbers. Just want you to be prepared for that. But the final question I want to answer is, how many early action schools can I apply to? And the answer with a big asterisk next to it is there's no limit. Early action is the non-binding option. So let me go back to my spreadsheet because I've got some good examples on here. And there is an example that is the exception on here. So let's just say we wanted to do early decision, like I was saying, to Tufts. Here's my ED. Let's pretend I don't get in. So I'm going to do ED2 to Swarthmore. Perfect. But at the same time that I'm submitting these in early November, I'm also going to apply early action to University of Wisconsin, University of Delaware, Villanova, which is private, so public, private. I'm also going to apply early action to USF, USD, and Santa Clara, all 3 of which are private. Oh, I lied. USD doesn't have an early. So I'm going to apply early to USF and Santa Clara. Early action, non-binding. Decision might come in December. It might come in January. I love getting good news in December. You're doing all this hard work, like all summer, all fall. I like good news in December. Early action is great. It's a favor that the colleges are doing for you because you got your stuff together in time to submit early. So let me tell you about the exception. Stanford has an early action, but it's restricted early action, which is actually not one of the choices on my spreadsheet. But if you decide to apply early action to a restricted early action school, and there's a handful of them. We've got Stanford, we've got Harvard, we've got Caltech, we've got Yale and Princeton. Those are restricted early actions. There's a whole bunch of other schools that are not restricted. You apply to as many early action schools as you want. But if you choose to apply restricted early action, and by the way, your chances of getting in, not really statistically any higher for those REA schools, REA, restricted early action. I'm trying not to use the jargon. They restrict you from applying to private schools early action. So you could still apply to Wisconsin and Delaware, but not Villanova early, not USF early, not Santa Clara early. So what you're doing is you're pushing the deadlines for those private schools to the later deadline, which is fine, but you're not going to get a decision on those until March, late March, basically. And again, what did I just tell you? I like good news early. Good news early makes everyone feel better. The first acceptance that your child gets may not be the college that they wind up attending, but it will help bring down the temperature and let everybody exhale in your household. So I hope these answered your how many questions. And again, I'm going to post a little bit more information next to this recording so you can learn a little bit more. Thanks. Hope this helped.